So this is a training about network measurement, a training about measuring internet shutdowns. But what is even a network measurement? In order to understand network measurement, we first need to briefly discuss how the internet works. Or rather than getting into the details of how the internet works, one thing is important to highlight. And that is that the internet essentially consists of many different interconnected networks. As you can see in this image here that I've shared in this slide, the internet in a way has many different networks, all of which are interconnected. And so when we're talking about measuring the internet, we're not really talking about measuring one entity. Rather, we are talking about measuring all the different networks that make up the internet. Of course, if we are to do this on the ground, then we cannot measure all the networks ourselves. But in order to understand the internet as a whole, we sort of need to, inspect what is happening on all the different networks that make up the internet. And so network measurement is the process of measuring certain attributes of a network. Um, and specifically within the context of this training, we will discuss this. We will not discuss all the different ways that you can perform network measurements, but we will discuss specific types of projects and how they perform network measurement and how they inspect specific properties of specific networks and how you can participate in this type of research in order to collect data that can be relevant to your advocacy. And so essentially, I guess the main takeaway is that you will learn how to inspect networks, how to examine what is happening on different networks in order to have an understanding whether information controls are implemented and whether access to certain networks or certain services which are hosted on the internet is being restricted.